The Wrestling Mayhem Show. Since 2006, the pioneer in pro wrestling podcasting.
This show is brought to you by IndieWrestling.us and IndieWrestling.network for your independent wrestling entertainment. Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza.
Just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Don't give up what you want, take it back. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Do what you...
It is the Wrestling Mayhem Show, episode 926. Tuesdays we've been talking about professionalized wrestling, and this Tuesday is no different, despite the fact that I'm in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I don't have any equipment except for this laptop that isn't even mine right here on the feed. We're doing this. We're going to talk some wrestling. No special guests, nothing crazy. It's just me and the Riz is with me. Two buddies talking professionalized wrestling on the internet and early for you. So sorry to cut into your breakfast, Tina Keys.
I'm not special, Sorg.
No. You are the specialist because you're here.
Let's see how it is, Sorg.
What, man?
Let's see how it is. No.
You know what? We've been distracted.
by
pretty boys and
guest.
beast.
Apparently.
Listen, Riz, we've been distracted by beast men and pretty boys for the last several weeks, and savage gentlemen and D&D players. It's time for you and me to have a one-on-one to talk about the great one.
The Rock? We're talking about The Rock?
No, it's Bret Hart. I mixed my.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Bill Goldberg.
I didn't watch this. I saw a tweet about it, but it wasn't on the highlights. Okay, so full disclosure, because of the busyness, I just finished. Riz, I tried watching the pay-per-view this weekend.
How'd that work out?
From this weekend, I tried to watch it Monday night, but it was after I drove up to Ann Arbor and built a set for the workshop this week. Mm-hmm. And I tried, and I kept falling asleep. So I was like, okay, I have the championship and the cage match left. I'm going to wake up at 5:30 in the morning and watch those two things, because literally my job is down the hallway here.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm sorry about the nosy thing.
Oh, it's going
so before I went to go sit and do AV and video capture for a event about automated cars and technology with people from General Motors, I watched a man put syringes in another man's cheek. Which, you know what? Listen, Riz, also understand, this is something I've seen in person as well.
Yeah.
So, but
it doesn't get better.
It never gets better.
No.
Why are we doing this? Why?
Like you mentioned, you saw the last two matches back to back in the morning.
This is murder chance.
Not only did you see that happen, you saw in order the end of the Bryan Danielson match, where Bryan Danielson or Jon Moxley puts a plastic bag over somebody's head, which again we were a part of at one point.
Oh my God, we were! Oh my God, we were! We saw that. That was right in front of you, Riz. Oh my gosh! Yeah. Oh,
I have a picture that is just me.
Side note. Okay, side note from AEW's All In. Okay, Bradley is on the smear campaign for Emily MED. Who may resemble a former videographer slash I don't know, depends on what territory we're in, and he's been like, do I, he's been trying to find terrible things to say about her since she's coming out with the Gambinos at I guess Rise this weekend, and how did we not come up with a plastic bag line?
Nope. That's true.
Literally suffocated a chest flexor, which could be a positive. Suffocated an STD. She's the cure.
Eliminated an STD. Yeah.
Eliminated an STD, if you will. Okay. Get this to Bradley here tomorrow. Okay,
yeah.
We got it.
But still, we had that happen. We've seen
Riz. We've seen a lot of shit.
No, you've seen a lot of shit.
You've
I
seen a
only
lot of
saw
shit.
that.
No, you are way closer to the plastic bags than I am,
Yeah,
for one
I
thing.
only saw the plastic.
I mean, it's only
You
your
saw a
profile on
lot
your
of other shit.
social media.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen some shit because I've been to several Gathering of Juggalos, but wrestling's getting so messed up, I don't even have to go anymore.
But like
Pro wrestling, that's the headline. Pro wrestling has made the Gathering of the Juggalos obsolete.
No, it hasn't. It's gonna. I think the gathering is gonna be just fine, Sorg. You're not gonna have to worry about it.
Well, you're just gonna have to go to the Gathering with me next year to find out. Anyways, back to the show.
Yeah, back to the
what
show.
What calamities did we see in this
We saw
pay-per-view,
that.
this battle of champions?
We saw that. We saw the I can't even say that. Like the syringe in the mouth. Like that is kind of. We saw a wicked chair shot, like brain chair shot. We saw. I think one of the nastiest spots of the night we're kind of hopefully not overlooking is the power bomb to the cinder block. Like the way his back like contorted around that, and how he's not actually injured is I think it was Swerve that took it. Yeah, Swerve took that.
No, Paige did.
It was a Paige. Paige took it. Sorry,
they
my
showed
brain.
the scrape afterwards.
Yeah, so like how Paige's back isn't like broken after that is beyond.
And to be fair, like when they did that, like you could tell he kind of slid across it. He didn't take a square kind of thing. So like that, and I'm not again wrestling people. Correct me. Wrestlers, if you will. Like there's a way you can minimize that impact, right?
And I get it. It's I'm like I don't know. I'm not I'm personally not a fan of that shit.
Okay.
Like I'm not like the syringes and all that is kind of like taking me away, but like I feel like can we please AEW? Can we please stop trying to murder Bryan Danielson? We're trying to put him in angles where he is murdered or looks like he's going to die.
Yeah, we're very explicitly doing that at this point. Yeah.
But I mean, overall, it was after London, it was going to fall back a little bit, but it was still a pretty good.
It was a more solid follow up, I feel, but probably because we had 2 weeks to kind of
the build up was kind of
we had 2 weeks of a hot 2 weeks of build up, if you will, and I think it led to a more solid show in general. Of course, my eyeglasses are crooked. What happened here? But anyway,
my mustache is crooked.
It's all messed up. I don't know what's going on here. So. Much more solid show. I love the matches, and even beyond that, we still had a street fight earlier that night with Chris Statlander and Willow that had light tubes. I remember at one point I saw a Adam Page loves evil ways from Cole. Maybe it was in a chat or something like that. So like this is like there is I don't know if it's just because of here in Pittsburgh or the circles that we keep, but in the no ring stuff, kind of like there's at least 3 no ring things happening in the Pittsburgh and Morgantown areas, right? And just Detroit as a whole, and XPW
is the entire city
they're doing. And I was thinking as I was driving up here, I recalled a time. It was probably near the end of the run doing Warrior Wrestling. I remember sitting there with a Beastman and a Joe Dombrowski, and an XPW clip had just been going around from the show that night that we were not involved in. We had a fun, clean show, I'm sure.
I think I know which one this is.
It was a syringe into a woo-ha. Not a woo-ha, but like a whoa-ho. Like a dangly. That's all I'm going to say on that. This is not an NC-17 show necessarily, but I just like all of us sitting around kind of like dealing with that. By the way, it was Missy that found that, by the way, because she
Mhm.
finds everything. Um, Swerve took the power bomb and Paige took the similar shot, not quite a power bomb.
Oh, that's right.
So our death match is ready for mainstream. How will this be handled on cable TV? These don't happen on cable TV. You
No.
edit around this stuff. You have to. This is now one of the things aside from more consistent for half an hour matches, Will Ospreay bangers. Um, these death match kind of matches, which still don't happen every month. But Chicago is a place you can do that. Is another reason to separate the pay per view from the cable TV because you're like, oh, it's just more matches. They have crazy matches every Wednesday and Saturday on AEW. This is true, but also those have been kind of toned down lately. I don't know if you've noticed. There's been more talk, more setup, good matches, but and they'll throw like a hey Okada and somebody's going to go for
Mhm.
for 28 minutes out of nowhere. But still, like you have to have something to make people want to drop the 20, 30, 40, $50 for a pay-per-view too, or go to Dave and Buster's. So and who wants to do that for food? I'll retire when somebody murders me in front of my wife and child, says Dave Bonner in the chat. Curious to see the Swerve Page progress because remember that match was unsanctioned, so the Page victory doesn't count. Oh man, and I think that is Page's first victory against Swerve, right? So it'll turn into something. This is the thing that they can revisit in 6 months when Swerve comes back around, regains the title. Maybe Page gets the title. Maybe Page is the one that downs. Maybe Page joins this new faction and downs Claudio, or not. I mean, downs Brian, right? Um,
I mean, I can see
mhm,
that. Like they need to, like they kind of need to revamp. I guess not revamp. They're kind of doing that already with Page,
mhm,
but and not have his thing with Swerve, but
mhm,
go on, like, move on to start, like
mhm.
move on to Danielson or move on to like Claudio or the other 100 titles they have in AEW. I
Right.
know that was a little slight jab, but still, it's he can do so much.
Sure.
Like his AEW world title reign. I know it wasn't Punk. I know it wasn't Mox or MJF, but his AEW title reign was good
Mhm.
for the matches that were put on.
I think you can say for both of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think they both were, some marquee, star building, assets in this.
Swerve, I feel like Swerve though had that um, weird, kind of almost uh, Jericho esque of an MJF vortex and another and an
Mhm.
Osprey vortex,
That's right. There
and
were,
like there was all
yeah.
these new guys
Mhm.
or not new guys, but like bigger AEW names that were popping up everywhere,
Mhm.
making like all these memories happen. So
He
I
had a
feel like
very, yeah, it was very, really scrambling to feel like he was on top, right?
yeah,
But I think
kind of
he
like what Damien. Like,
still
I
he
go back to
delivered.
like what Damian Priest was, like how he
Mhm.
was as
Mhm.
world champion. He wasn't
I
the guy.
No, he wasn't
But he's
the guy, but he was definitely a guy.
mhm.
And it's really interesting because I was thinking a lot about how whatever MJF kind of monopolized most of 2023 as champion, if I from what my recollection, and we had Joe earlier this year. We have Swerve. We had Brian, and I'm just thinking about how you know dynamically different each of these reigns have been so far, and the overtones of them. And any of them could come back around, and I'm really interested to see where the story goes with Brian, especially with the changes with the Moxley. Claudio's on the same thing. Somebody pointed out that they're wearing the stuff that like Brian used to wear in a certain phase.
Like the
The
plain
white,
white T-shirt.
yeah, with the white T-shirt thing. I saw Claudio come out with the white
Mhm.
T-shirt. Wheeler is not on board, but Pac is with this whole situation. I'm sure we'll get an explanation on Wednesday. And they still have a 6-man tag belt together. So how does that going to play out? So it's really, really interesting. Where is this coming from? Is this you're not your company anymore because Brian's been doing backstage stuff, like what, so there's a lot of interesting, fun questions that we get to play with and answer and pontificate on for AEW. Don't tell me AEW ain't doing stories.
No, they're not. I mean,
Don't tell me this. I mean, it's not the operatic big moves that WWE does, but man, they are.
I will pause you on that one.
Okay.
Because they are doing those big moves.
Mm-hmm.
Like going back to Swerve and going back to Paige.
Mm-hmm.
The big thing with we talked about it last week on the show. We were like, who is the antagonist? Who is the protagonist in this situation?
Yeah.
And I mentioned that Paige is actually the one that got it started. It was Paige. It was Swerve that broke into Paige's house all along. So with what Paige did, he kind of like with doing the whole burning the house down thing, which was a sick spot, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was a real spot or not, but it was like if they just bought the house just to burn it.
I think that's what they did. That's absolutely what we did here.
Yeah.
So.
Like I heard some people say, "Oh, that's green screen. It's not real. It's CGI." I'm like, still, like just have him sitting on like that main chair, like the lazy boy, while it burns behind him. It made him the evil dude.
Mm-hmm.
It made him the evil dude
Mm-hmm.
in this situation.
It would never even just Paige's thing, seeing what he executes here in this story and the matches he's done recently, and he's been like chided as the person that doesn't take advice. I don't know, he's doing pretty good. So,
yeah, he's
for what he's doing,
and I want him. I wanted him to have a better run as champion.
Yeah,
I want him as another run.
Sure.
I want him as an evil champ, like a heel champion. Now.
We never got, and I thought what we were coming around to was it was going to be Paige Swerve for the belt, but I love how we sidestepped that into what we got. Which came into an even better thing. I mean, it's like, oh, this feud doesn't need a belt. So it's like, so let's take it away so we can do something over here, and then Swerve can deal with this. And now Swerve has to deal with, and then what, now the story is, I keep thinking, I know this gets mentioned with the Paul Heyman vacation, is like, okay, we did the thing. Now the interesting story is what happens as the fallout. How does Swerve deal with the loss? How does Paige deal with a win? Is he a sore winner, or does he think he's walking straight up to Brian, who's already occupied with a million things? Like I keep forgetting we randomly had Christian last night walk up to Brian, with that contract that I completely forgot about, right? Like there's so many threads. Darby's sitting on a title shot at Grand Slam. They put all these balls up in the air, and you have no idea which one's going to land. Is this going to turn into like when Brian was going into was it when he was going into Wrestle Kingdom and he had the eye patch because he was going to so hard and working through all the injuries? Is it like when Orange Cassidy was just defending the the International Championship every single week and just
and he was just covered in rock tape and
I love that, and I love watching these. What AEW does that I don't feel like I see as much with WWE is because I feel like somebody Rey Mysterio gets thrown off a building and shows up on Raw the next week. Why?
I still don't like Corbin for that. But go ahead.
No, damn it, Corbin. You have the Orange Cassidy scenario and you have the Bryan scenario. It reminds me of. I remember one of the most exciting changes they made to Mortal Kombat, the video games, in the last several years was your guy actually you dump buckets of blood, but the guy doesn't change. But now he actually falls apart during the course of the match and sees the bumps and bruises. Like I feel like the AEW guys become like, hey, this guy's on a tear and he's doing this and defending every week, but like, oh, look, he's got more tape. Oh, look, he's got this going on. Oh, he's got a bandage here. Like, you watch them fall apart. That's part of the story. Man, they're really, hey, John Cena's going at it and kicking on people every week, but he doesn't look like he's lost a step. Right, he doesn't look like he's on a wear and tear or anything like that. Like, that's the story, and that's tremendous. It's a very New Japan does this too, to great effect. Because it is like, what is the effect of this thing that happened to him last night? Because we're on this tour and and we're leading to the big show at the end. And they can do those things in loops, of course. But I think that's really exciting what we get to do with AEW. Great show. By the way, that was a great show. Like, it wasn't all in London or anything like that, but that was a really good, like, what I come here for AEW. And I'm glad I took the time to sit down, mostly avoided spoilers. I barely do anything. I think right when I was starting to watch it, I happened to see the bag thing. You know what I mean? I saw a GIF flip by of John Moxley. I think it was Claudio doing the swing on him,
the European uppercut.
Uppercut, and I didn't see who it was on, and I flipped away, and I just randomly saw him with the bag like yesterday when I was starting to watch the show. I'm like, okay, I didn't necessarily. I saw one thing that Matthew posted a page on the stage, and it positioned him so the crown from DraftKings was on his head. On that graphic behind him on the stage, and he says, "Congratulations, Paige, you are now the Draft King." That's the only hint that I got that he might have won that thing, but I wasn't entirely sure. So didn't have anything for title wins or anything like that. Which I don't think any titles changed hands necessarily. No, I recall. But good stuff, really, really good stuff there, and even the, Shida Monet was decent. And stuff like that. Like there's still like kind of the tweener matches when you have a show that's just going all out. Pac and Ospreay, damn it! And we're setting up him and Rick. So we're just doing everybody we wanted Ospreay to touch that he hasn't for a few years. We're just doing the whole tour of it now, and that's okay. He's gonna roll through all these guys, right? For however we're doing this. And you say, well, we're wasting all the matches. No, because now you can come back around with an story. You can come back around with an story. You can do the wear and tear thing. It's like exactly, Swerve and Page. How many? This is like a 2-year story, right? And they haven't had a match and touched each other since when did they have that 3-way with Joe? Like in February, March, maybe. So like that's the pacing. The pacing is really good right now, I feel, on the top end. So
it is, and I have been one of the biggest or one of the bigger skeptics of AEW. And yeah, I mentioned before that those weird the deathy matchy spots kind of took me away from it, but like I said, it still told a story.
Yeah,
like that's what I care. That's what I kind of liked about it. Like I kind of liked that aspect of it, that they wanted to fucking murder each other. I'm not sure about Danielson and Mox, but we'll hopefully we get something on Monday or Wednesday, whatever day this is. But overall, it was a damn good show.
So I want to talk about, because this has been kind of the thing right now, but it looks like where's everybody getting the PWI 500? Because is it only at the newsstands or something? Because I can't. They don't even have it on their website.
I think that's I saw like MV posted something about it, and like the actual article, like the actual blurb, and I'm like, how did he get that? But let me see. PWI.
It feels like anytime that I want to go get it, it's like I have to wait a week or something.
Well, it is. 9 hours ago, they did post the actual cover with Cody Rhodes on it. PWI, in general, posted that.
Okay. Well, and again, first of all, let's go local for the moment. Props out to friends of the show, Pretty Boy Smooth at 362. Of course, putting over his work at the title for Exodus Pro, who we just saw defended actually Saturday in Erie at Big League Pro, which just dropped on VOD today or tonight actually for kickoff. And then the other one, oh, why can't I get to it? MV Young showed up as well on the list. Let me see if I can get to that guy over there. He landed at 426 with a mention about what's going on over at 880 Wrestling and Thursday Night Fights. That is crazy that a product that we're working on gets mentioned on. That was a weird brainchild. Riz, you've worked a lot on that project that got mentioned.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's great.
It's really amazing how that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So props to him. I just checked a little bit ago. I'm like scrolling down on the PWI Twitter page.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Adonis, 321.
Okay.
Let's see.
Sam's been doing a lot of stuff.
5. I'm trying to find anybody else. But
well, the biggest thing is, let's go to the top end. That well, also friends of the show, Joe Dabrowski got listed as a top 10 play-by-play. Veda Scott on color commentary. There's somebody else that's a friend of ours that I think popped up on that too. But also I was appreciating how many people on that list that I've actually had to work with in the last year or two. Mm-hmm. So it was really nice to see some familiar faces on there. So number 1, Cody Rhodes. Number 2, Swerve Strickland. So don't say he's not getting his flowers.
They got it right.
They got it right. And it's hard, you know, and it's no slight on Swerve, but like Cody is killing it. Had one of the biggest moments at a WrestleMania and has the WWE machine behind him. Like you can't fight too much more with that. You know what I mean? Has an AEW guy been number 1 over a WWE guy in the last several years? I'm curious. Kenny? Was he a number 1?
Okay. Omega was number 1.
But Cody's on a next level fire, and even that we're considering Swerve as the number 2 is pretty astonishing considering all the great things happening in the last year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
wow, but yeah, like I need to double check on that because I want to see the actual top 10 because I know I saw it. And I know I want to comment on some of this because I kind of there's good and bad to top 500, the PWI 500, and I think I mention this every time I'm on when there's PWI 500. 1, you get to let's say 30 wrestlers, and then I believe everybody just starts naming wrestlers. And sees how many people know that wrestler.
Yeah,
and like I feel like it's way too many people, way too many numbers. But again, it's fun because we see our friends on it.
It is fun, but then like you see like Sam Bell didn't get on the list this year. No. You know what I mean? And, like Sam's been doing great stuff. It's wild, but also like I think I've been thinking about this too. Because there's a lot of great people doing stuff at shows, and I think about the Thursday Night Fights thing. We know, where's the conversation happening right now? It's like, do we have to do this every week? Is it important that we do it every week? Yeah, because a lot of people are seeing these people, whether they be the trainees or not, that don't. I don't think people realize how many eyeballs are on that thing, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily just about the good work you're doing in the ring. It's the attention you get, too. Again, that Cody versus Swerve. Cody has got a machine behind him, is getting this attention on the next level. And Swerve is just just turned the shit in this year like crazy, right? And is like working and everybody's working his ass off, but but it is that awareness, it is that visibility of what you're doing. Pretty Boy Smooth was just on NWA. I think he's going to be on NWA TV in the coming weeks as part of the Back to the Territories tapings. He's an NWA sanctioned champion on an NWA brand that's owned by the champion EC3. Like, that's the visibility that he hasn't had before. All due respect, running around with the Rise. And actually, I think he did that to a certain extent when he had the Rise Grand Championship. But was running around with that belt. He just defended the NWA Exodus belt in Erie, has done it at Rise, has done it at 880 Wrestling, I think he's done it in Canada. Yeah, because he's on the show talking about he did it in Canada, making it a world belt. That's the kind of thing that puts you in front of people and gets you recognized. So more people when your name gets on this list. Does the list matter?
No.
Does the list get you in front of people that maybe? Does the list get you in front of more people that maybe didn't hear of you? Yeah, probably. MV Young, same thing. He's doing everything he does. He's good at social media. He's good at getting stuff out there. We've done this thing Thursday Night Fights that I think arguably gets it in front of more people than almost anything else in the area. Right?
Cage match scores goes up.
The cage match score goes up for cowboy ball and stuff.
Yep.
There's and you got great names that want to be a part of that project. And I don't know anything that gets more attention out of the Pittsburgh area than that. Aside from definitely Enjoy Wrestling and stuff like that, right? But at scale, what is it? And Enjoy gets all that for. They bring a lot of national attention. They bring in the Lees, they bring in the Sunny Kisses and stuff, and then up the locals. Thursday Night Fights is MV's the star, and everybody else is the trainees, and then whoever comes in, and for that to get the eyeballs it does, I think I'm wrapping my head around it. And this is a process.
But so we're talking about our local indie promotion that nobody knows,
training school promotion.
A training school promotion
it's
that
barely
just got a blurb in PWI 500.
Yeah.
One, that's amazing.
I think it happened a year ago too.
Yeah, but the thing I'm kind of wondering is, the people who on the West Coast who have their version of MV, their version of 880 Wrestling, because I know it's probably scarce and because of the production, but their eyeballs now have to be like, oh, maybe we can get this going. Maybe we can get this going, and maybe more people can see my guy or myself, whoever. But still, I feel like the numbers are more skewed a little bit because it's like, okay, who's going to be number 465 in 500?
I love the tweets. It's like, oh, I was definitely 501. It's like the Roderick Strong was the next one in the casino gauntlet. I think you can get, don't say that PB's better than MV because he got higher on the list. You know what I mean? The only time it matters, and to a certain point, it hardly matters in the top 10 probably too. Okay, that can be a little more debatable.
There's one name that should be higher on this list.
Oh yeah, who's that?
It's astronomical how Gunther is number 9.
What's the cutoff date?
What mean?
What's the cutoff date?
Cutoff date is August 1st, 2023 to July 31st, 2024. He was still champion.
Okay, he was just champion. No,
he was IC champion.
No.
He was okay. He was a
and
IC
he
champion
was,
for
and
that
he was
good
king of the
portion.
ring, leading into
And
winning
king
the
of the
belt at the beginning of August. He was not the world champion yet. He did some great things. Had his loss at Mania.
He beat the Honky Tonk Man.
And beat the Honky Tonk Man.
He's a record holder. He's 9.
He's 9?
John Moxley ahead of him. MJF ahead of him. Damian Priest ahead of him. Maybe Damian Priest kind of because he's a champion. Naito, okay, I can see Naito, but also Seth Rollins is also on that at number 4.
I do not have a problem with any of this lineup. I think Gunther in the top 10 is perfectly adequate for him. I think he will be much higher next year after he's had a year with the belt and on the top.
Also, Mystico is 10.
I don't know what's been going on down south of the border, but he definitely pops up and puts on some bangers on AEW.
I remember when Vikingo was like top 4.
Oh my Vikingo! I love Vikingo. Such a sweet gentleman. Little details. This is again to our AEW conversation from before. Back to the cage match. Little details. The picture of the house burning down on Swerve's gear. The final look of grief and relief from Hangman on the ramp. Chef's kiss. Ponder says AEW up the storylines compared to a year ago. Also, remember the year ago we had backstage fights and shenanigans and people being let go that definitely sabotaged a lot of stories that were probably happening around this very time of last year. The story of last year was that somebody got in a pissing contest over real glass backstage in London at the biggest show of the year instead of us being excited about the biggest show of the year. That was the story, unfortunately. So everything else was flat because of it, because everybody else was reeling from it and not concentrating on it. And this is like we said about All In. This is the fuck you. We fucking deserve to be here year for them. Okay,
right.
And this is them proving it.
They do. And I will go to bat for them. I'm like, they do deserve to be in this spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
Can I go back one more thing I don't like about the PWI 500?
This is a rant on the 20th.
This is a rant. I'm always going to have this rant. Why? Like I get the women have the top PWI 150 or whatever women in wrestling thing, but Jordan Grace deserves to be up there on the main 500. Tony Storm deserves to be on this list.
There actually is a list of women that are on this list, isn't there?
There is, but it's like it is the women who are in like intergender matches. So you got Sunny Kiss, you have Riho, you have Dark Sheep, Alley Catch. You have all these like Maki Ito's on this list. By the way, Maki Ito is ranked way low on this list. She should be higher.
You know
She's
what, Riz?
456.
You know what there is? You know what, Riz? There's a list being determined year to year by PWI. They're not an authority except for anything about their own world. So, Riz, you know what the answer is to this?
Make our own list.
Make our own list, the WMS 500. Let's see if I can even come up with 500 names. It's all going to be friends of the show, first of all.
Yeah.
And then
we're somehow going to have Joe Dombrowski on this list. We're going to have Beastman on there.
No. We're not going to distinguish it. It's not going to be.
We're going to have Beastman.
Oh yeah, he's going to be 3 times like Faces of Foley. We're going to soup over Papa Dingo. We're going to have Congo Kong and. No, I'm not doing that. We're going to have Cowpoke Paul. We're going to have the Mad Cow. We're going to have Machinist number 3. Mash Mechanic number 3. We're going to say and none of this is losing or making any accusations. I'm just saying names off the top of my head because I need to fill out 500 on a list.
That's what I'm talking about when I'm saying like it's great to see people on this list because it's they're known now. Yeah. But it's like I feel like it's more, hey, do you know who I'm talking about? And like how many people say, oh yeah, he's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, if it becomes like this PWI hipster list where it's just like, how dare you not know about the, number 499 on the list?
What happened to Blue
Joe Blaze?
There's some guy named John.
Ice Cream number 2. Whatever it is, it's just. It is what it is. I'm surprised
some guy named John hasn't said he was 501 yet.
Wait till Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
Wait till Thursday night and see who pulls out a PWI promo. So Thursday night fights 8:00 every Thursday, free on IndieWrestling.us. By the way, plug.
Right here.
So I'm not doing plugs. I should mention Patreon. I'm just going to give you guys a quick shout because we have no format this week. I think everybody does support us on Patreon. It's the reason why I could just be going out and hanging out and relaxing because I have an entire week in Michigan. It's crazy. But instead, I want to be here with you guys. I really do want to be here with you guys. But also, I want to make sure that you guys are getting your money's worth, that we're doing the show. No Patreon exclusive this week. We're just doing the shows in general because this is all I can barely do on a laptop here and AirPods. But I think everybody does support the show. Bo diggity! Ooh, I have neighbors. I'm in a hotel. I can't go loud.
Say it louder.
Woo! As the case is not that late. That's why we did the show earlier. Team Hammerfist, Tupac family, Megan Nelson, Bubba Brewer, and Jason French at the Poppy Club level. Dave Propop, partner, spouse of Ruth Julia Fair, RuthJuliaFair.com, Rastin Trenchcoat, Tinny Kincaid, The Riz, it's you, Bradley, and Tina Keys. Guys, support the show. Thank you for supporting the show. Patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Shoe. So PWI bitching aside, we've been going for about 40 minutes. I don't want to go too much long because there's a pole outside my window that I want to go hit up because there's no
Jump out the window to the pole.
There's no. I'm checking out in the morning. Actually, I got a late checkout, and there's no pool at the next hotel for the rest of the week. So I need to hit this up now, okay, before I edit the show and do it tomorrow. What happened on WWE? Okay, so WWE is in an interesting phase. There's a lot of movements happening. There's the content to happen, but also SmackDown is coming back to USA this week. I believe starting this week, I think they are moving to 3 hours, and starting in the near future, Raw is going to 2. Riz is making a face for guys on audio.
Like
Riz, your thoughts? In the vocal form, please.
I stick to the hours that you have. Like I know you're going to go SmackDown's going to go to cable, is going to be the cable show. It's going to be the television show when Raw goes to Netflix and next year. I get it. But I don't want a 3 hour SmackDown on. It's still on Friday, right? It hasn't moved.
Yep, screw you, Rampage. And
Yeah,
also, they were never able to do 3 hours simply because, as one article put, I don't know if this is true this way, but they were legally obligated to end at 10 o'clock because of the local affiliates. So there was no room for expansion.
That's
right?
Fox, yeah.
It's the way Fox does things. So of course they come over and USA is like, we love 3 hour Raw. Let's have 3 hour SmackDown. And I feel like that's them dissipating Raw since it's going out the door a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I didn't catch if it's at 8 or 9 o'clock. I'm good with whatever. It doesn't matter. Watch everything after the fact now anyways.
Right.
This is a really interesting phase. I love USA celebrating the fact that they have all 3 shows on USA for a little bit now, and then of course NXT is going to go to CW Land, and you can watch it on the app next to Carneyland, and Raw is going to go its ways. It's like the last hurrah before the big split, right? It's like a family reunion before everybody goes their separate ways. So I think that's really interesting. And, they're making the most of it. So it's going to be the WWE channel for like 3 weeks and then on. But yeah, I'm really interested. I cannot wait till the beginning of January to see what the dynamic really is going to be. Mm-hmm. I really can't wait to see what that's going to be.
Yeah, and McAfee's going to probably come back on that show.
Yep,
and
probably.
Swear
I mean,
a lot.
We gave the C team the Raw for commentary. Mm-hmm. You can see there's a weight to the shows a lot of times. SmackDown was getting a little heavier, but also kind of these vibes and everything, and where the champ goes and everything like that. So no, SmackDown will be 3 hours coming up on USA, I believe, starting this next week. Yeah, that
Okay.
messes up. That totally messes up my plans to be there live on Friday.
Yep.
Okay. Raw's going
Enjoy.
to, and Raw is going to go two by the end of the year. But I don't know if that necessarily means there'll be two on Netflix. I think it's going to be whatever they want it to be.
It's gonna be.
You know,
It's gonna go over on
I
Netflix.
think they're just going to be like, these are the segments, and we're done when we're done.
Yeah.
You
Like,
know, like maybe I don't know.
don't put a
Who knows?
60-minute Iron Man match in the middle of this.
Oh
Fuck
my
it.
god! If only they could. Oh, if
Mm.
only they would. If only they would. I don't know. I'm curious. I have no idea. I have no predictions. You know, there's been illusions. Supposedly there was an all hands meeting reminding people that they're still TV PG on Raw. Hopefully we can become a little looser with the censorship after last
Mm.
week on Fox. That's just been annoying. Give me an
How they do
international.
the holy shit chant, where they just decide to go
Oh,
holy and then
and
mute
I do not
everything.
understand. They've gone harder with stuff, but then got softer with the censorship. And I understand why you need to have it on Fox. I don't understand why we carried it over to USA. You know what I mean? Like why? Like it's never been a problem up until now from Attitude
Mm.
Era on, right? And now we decide it's an issue, you know. And then the show you have Network TV is where you are doing so well. You've incited the audience to chant "fuck you, Roman."
Hmm.
Like
And fuck you, Solo.
it shows how absolutely detached network television and now we just talked about that pay-per-view, and there's a rumor in TV land that I'm reading, rumor asterisk asterisk asterisk, that supposedly AEW has trademarked a show called Shockwave, I think,
Hmm.
that may be poised to fill that slot on Fox.
Okay. I mean,
So many questions. Is that in place of another show? Is that an additional 2 hour show that
I
they're
was
going to
gonna
be
say,
doing?
are they gonna put another show on top of another show?
Is it a
Like, is that
one
gonna
hour
be?
is it a
Is,
1 hour show and they're going to tape it alongside a Rampage for later that night on TNT? You know,
Mhm.
we still don't know what the shape of the new deal is for WBD, War Brother Discovery.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many ways and places this could go. Is incredible. Like either way, the 2025 wrestling landscape is going to be remarkably different as far as the television goes, and it's going to be really curious. Still even is somebody going to pick up TNA to fill one of these WWE slots, or if AEW goes somewhere to fill some of those slots? Is Ring of Honor finally going to get a TV deal? Where are we going? They're still doing 2 hour shows on Honor Club. Hey, bang for
Mhm.
your buck, but you know, um,
I do miss the days, and I know why they did it, but I miss the days where TNA Impact Wrestling had their Twitch, their all their shows stream on Twitch.
mm. Well, yeah, and even it's difficult to even
because
just watch the shows on like YouTube or anything anymore. Like they're
because
done with it. So,
that
hmm
like what we're on right now, Twitch. By the
hmm
way, it is September. Go ahead and
hmm
uh, hit the subscribe button for a
the
little bit
subs
less.
support the show. Is there any way you
Um,
can support the show here?
I believe it's like 25% or something like that for new subs.
Hmm
But I just remember like like the stuff that we do on Indie Wrestling US with 880.
hmm hmm
I feel like that should be a rubric to what, like, maybe not WWE, maybe not AEW, but something like a TNA or something like an MLW to be like, hey, why don't we grab streaming? Like
hmm
actual Twitch streaming,
I
actual
think.
YouTube numbers, actual like
hmm
views where you can see the snowball effect, where you can automatically go, oh, there were 80, or they were, no, I was going to say 80 people watching, but there were like 1,000 people watching this show, 3,000 people watching this show. So
Yeah.
that not only are you getting your name out there, you're showing that like if you want to go somewhere, if you want to find yourself in on a TV deal, if you want to go that route, like they can see what you're doing in live time.
Well, isn't that what happened? Isn't that what happened to NWA? Power was a YouTube show. They had a secondary show on Saturday mornings. CW scooped them up for the app, at least, right? Probably a financial move forward for NWA because guaranteed money over, I would presume, over YouTube. I have no idea of their background business. You know, and then their YouTube channel has had, you know, clips and podcasts up until, I don't know, some little fledgling company in Cleveland decided to stream on it and put their balls out there a couple weeks ago. But you know, I see what you're getting at, and maybe like AEW was doing this with Dark and Elevation back in the day, right? And that's led into, hey, they got more TV. You know what I mean? Hey, we know we can produce this much TV. Okay, cool. We want you to do one on Saturday night. Like that might have been part of the equation. You know,
Well, they were doing it. They did Saturday Night for Punk.
well, okay. This is
That is,
as Tony said this. Has this been said that we made a show for CM Punk basically, and now we
Tony's
couldn't?
not, Tony is never going to say that.
Somewhere down the line when he's over it, and
When he's over it, when
Punk says something that's
when
pissed him
Punk
off.
comes back, he's going to say it.
Maybe, yeah. When he comes back, he's like, "I made a show for you," or whatever it is. What a bad breakup. They were late. But still, like, you know, Ring of Honor, you know, maybe they're making some money off of the Ring of Honor Club, but maybe it's just a setup to, you know, prove a product, build a product that you can offer to the TV. I don't think. I'd be curious if TNA on Access versus like streaming on the other stuff, what the numbers look like. You know what I mean? I think there's a ceiling, you know, especially in this oversaturated wrestling market, right? That we're already seeing kind of a collapse with streaming. You know, we don't know. I don't know who's making money. Anybody's making money off of wrestling right now that's not WWE and AEW. Right. You know, the streaming thing, you know, people are doing stuff, but I feel like everybody involved in wrestling and doing video is at a loss at some point here. Like I you know, or it bubbles for a little bit and pops, right? Like
You know
I feel
who's
like
who's doing it? Who's doing it like really well?
Hmm.
Evil Uno.
But that's just like his little channel.
It's his little channel.
His brother Bates and Mystery Wrestling.
Yeah, like
you know,
the mystery wrestling is fun.
He's not making a living off of that, but he's probably doing pretty good by it. You know,
It's something
nothing to
that's
the boys.
not on. It's something that hasn't been done since $5 wrestling.
Oh
where
yeah,
they just
I was thinking
where they do
it's
performative
next level of that. Yeah.
where they do actually like niche world building in their little Calgary or wherever they're at. I forget which one. In their Canadian area.
Listen. Psycho Mike is my new favorite meta wrestler. Psycho Mike doing all his moves staring at the hard cam. Psycho Mike, what was he headbutting everybody that came in the ring and murdered all the referees with headbutts?
No, it wasn't headbutt. It was low blows.
Were they low blows?
Because he's a piece of shit.
Oh yeah, because he's a piece of shit.
Or no, it was either low blows or eye pokes.
I thought there was a headbutt thing too. It might have been
But
both of
in
them.
this latest one, or like, were you watching clips?
I'm watching. I'm seeing them on the Patreons, or not the Patreon, the TikTok and stuff.
The TikToks, yeah.
The reels.
Again, Psycho Mike is like the story arc for Psycho Mike. I will never stop loving that. Like I think I showed you the TikTok of Uno talking about it, how it started with him being a piece of shit. And then it continued on with a doctor's note about him being a piece of shit.
Yep.
And then the one thing he didn't mention was during the Dalton Castle match, he like it turned into a Batman versus Joker situation where Dalton Castle's parents were murdered, quote unquote, by a piece of shit, and he was there to avenge them. And then later on, he found out that the doctor went to a different doctor, and the doctor said that he is actually not just a piece of shit. He's a cowboy piece of shit. He a vet. The next show was with the vial. The vial that cured him of being a piece of shit. And the only way to win it, Sorg, I'm gonna stare into this.
I'm gonna stare right back at you. Wait, should I put you full screen? Hold on, let me put you full screen for this.
The caveat was the only way to cure him was to win the match against Josh Alexander and take the serum.
What?
Like
what? What?
Exactly.
What?
Exactly.
What is this? All right.
And it wasn't the weirdest thing on the show.
And this is why we don't have to go to the gathering of Elvis anymore. Riz, thank you. It's been almost an hour. I want to keep this under CapCut clippability, so to make my night a little bit easier. So I'm gonna. Hopefully nobody's in that pool out there.
Nobody's like just making out in the pool.
I got 45 minutes, and there's a jacuzzi. All right, I think this might happen. 67 degrees out, but they have an indoor section. Okay. The pool actually, like, you can like swim under and.
Pool's probably heated, Sorg. You're fine.
I don't remember it's heated. It might be heated. I can't remember. I
hopped
in it back in February, so yeah. Anyways, Riz, thank you for going on this wrestle venture with me. Thank you for educating all of us on mystery wrestling. Thank you for reliving your PTSD from whatever the hell happened on Saturday night's pay-per-view and all that kind of stuff. So,
what did you learn? What did you learn?
What did I learn? Real quick. What did I learn? I learned that PB's parents are adorable.
Okay.
I learned that some people just cannot put up with a cameraman standing in their vicinity.
Nope.
Oh man, I was real pissed off about that one. Man, I love Erie, but sometimes Erie does not love me. Yeah, that's what I learned. What'd you learn?
I learned that I really want Nikki Cross, Sister Abigail versus Chad Gable.
Man, I need to watch that match. I was watching the clips. Riz plays games. Sorgatron. I am in the greater Detroit area. I guess I'm staying in Flint, technically. I'm working in Hawley for the rest of the week after tomorrow. So I know there's wrestling shows, but I'm afraid they're going to be a little too far away from my hotel this weekend. So we'll see what happens. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you for being on this Mayhem adventure. Thank you, Riz, and we'll see you guys next time.
Just wait.
Oh, wait, just muted.
He can hear you.
Oh no. Okay, awesome.
The show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.
That's just for the live stream.
Yeah.
Okay, when I hit stop here, we're all going to go away. I love you, Riz.
Love you.